this is the mama of the dynamic mother-daughter duo. I couldn't contain my outrage and my fears for our country as a result of this recent false flag school shooting that has dominated the news in the last uh, several days. I'm a gun owner and a very proud gun owner. I'm an NRA instructor. I teach pistol to ladies, and I've also taught rifle and shotgun. Being an NRA certified instructor, being a member of the Gun Owners of America, being a hunter, and being someone who enjoys the freedoms of firearms ownership. What is frightening me to the point of nearly tears is the vitriol and the politicalization of tragedies like this, and the fact that the first call that everybody on the left, all the people who want to control us, their first call was to control the guns. I have a proposition for these people. Let's stop talking about gun control, which, as we all know, is people control. Every tyrant who's ever taken over a country in history, the first thing they've done, either by fiat, by law, or by just thuggery, is to confiscate the firearms from the populace in an effort to control them, so that whenever a tyrant decides that they want to have their way with the populace, they can do without resistance. Now, my proposition is this. Why don't we start with people control? And what I mean by that is criminal control. Every one of these people, and I don't really give a rat's ass if they have been on some sort of medications, they've had a lousy background, their mother died, whatever. The bottom line is that for the people who are committing these crimes, they get their moment in the press, their faces out there, they become celebrities. And the circuses that the media stages around these events is shameless. The other issue is we need to bring back capital punishment. If you are cold-blooded enough to plan the execution of innocent people, particularly children and students, and you have thought in your minds what you're going to do, where you're going to go, how you're going to load, and then summarily go in there on a calculated plan to kill people, then you need to die in an electric chair. I have no sympathy for cold-blooded murder. And this wayward and completely misguided notion that the poor souls who do these things have just been, well, it's mental illness or whatever. I understand that. I have a handicapped daughter. I do understand the issue of mental illness. But this call for disarmament and gun control, which is disarmament, the whole notion of that is just ridiculous. We need better background checks. Well, I defy you to go to any registered gun dealership that has a federal firearms license, in other words, an FFL. I defy you to walk out there with anything that has a bullet leaving its barrel and not fill out a federal form, and sometimes two forms if you're going to purchase a handgun. You are not going to be able to walk out of a store without going through that. So this whole red herring about background checks is plain and unadulterated bullshit. I work at a gun store. There is no way you're going to purchase anything out of our store without having a federal background check on you. Now, if the FBI has had warnings of people that have been red flagged on either their social media pages or by virtue of the fact that people have warned them with what they've overheard, and the FBI did nothing, then not even shame on you. You guys are derelict in your duty, and there ought to be something done to you about that, because you are complicit in the death of these people if you do nothing when you know somebody has had a red flag on their personality chart or whatever you guys keep as far as records. Now, I know that in my situation, because I'm a very active pro-gun person, I've probably been red flagged by the NSA, the FBI, and everybody else that's surveilling us as a populace. And I don't really give a damn. What I'm upset by is the fact that this whole notion of gun control has a bigger, much bigger plan involved. And that is to disarm the American population so that those globalists and people who are greedy in power, like the Clintons, like the Obamas, like the Rothschilds, like all the other ones, like George Soros and all these people, they have got to disarm us, because their intent for us has nothing to do with our welfare. It all has to do with bringing back human slavery. Now, sorry, my folks have done slavery, and we're not going back. And I'd rather be a dead lion than a live dog any day. So my advice to all these people on the left who are whipping up the frenzy of these poor people, the families of the victims, the sorrow that they've endured and having lost a child in such a horrible, heinous way, and going in there, and you know they've done it. These anti-gun zealots have gone in there to talk to these families. Oh, we're going to have a rally. We're going to stop gun violence. Well, that's not going to stop gun violence. What's going to stop gun violence is stopping the criminals. And what we need to do now is to bring back capital punishment. You can hang them. You can put them in front of a firing squad. You can put them in a chair, give them a lethal injection. We feed these people for decades on end, why appeal after appeal after appeal goes through. And in the meantime, those victims that they've killed will never come back. And I feel that's a great injustice, because many, many times these people get a slap on the wrist when they were calculatedly cold-blooded murderers. And it's unfair and it's unjust. Now, as a Christian woman, I will make my peace with God about my feelings, because it's not about revenge. It's about justice. And it's about time that the justice system and the anti-gun zealots wake up and realize those children would have been alive today, many of them, had there been an armed guard in that school, had there been armed teachers, including the gym teacher, had there been somebody in there with another firearm that could have stopped this man. And I swear, if people don't wake up to the practical reality of evil and get rid of that naivete about what it is that's the problem, we're going to continue to have these problems even after you ban the guns. You have to take the Israeli model where every teacher is armed to the teeth. And you know what? You don't hear about school shootings in Israel. So I think that this frenzy about guns is really an attempt to keep this narrative going against gun owners, who by virtue of the fact that we own guns, that somehow we're evil and somehow we have latent desires to kill people. And that is the real injustice of it all, is that we've been portrayed as being the evil people because we want to stand up for a Second Amendment right that is ensured not just by our Constitution, but by God Almighty. You all have the right to self-defense by whatever means necessary if your family and your life is threatened by an evil human being. And there's no arguing that. And if you do argue that, then you're just either stupid or you're malicious. I don't know which one it would be. And either way, it doesn't work for us as freedom-loving people. So I want to start this call to all the gun owners. Let's get together. Let's formulate our own pro-gun rally. We need to storm Washington and tell them this is not about the guns. This is about a lenient criminal justice system that allows these kinds of people to not just get a hold of weapons, but once they commit a crime, there's very little done to them in order to rectify this situation. And what I mean by that is if you do rectify the situation by introducing capital punishment again, you send a message. Try it and you're going to die. Better yet, arm good people with guns, so if a bad person comes out there and decides that they are going to try and take innocent life, they're going to feel what it's like to be on the end of a barrel of a righteous human being. Now that's my plea to everyone. Stop this nonsense, especially you people in the media who are just whores about getting your circulation and your ratings and everything like that, playing off of this horrible tragedy. And I include Fox News in this. All of you. You're no more than just baiters as far as taking the rights away from people so you guys can fall in line with the rest of the elites and control our population. And it's time we've said no. We've had enough. And that's my message to you from the Dynamic Mother-Daughter Duo. I'm going to be praying for you people. I'm going to be praying that God's will can be done in this nation, that freedom can still ring throughout this land, because America is the only hope of the world when evil takes over. You go to countries where you have no gun rights, like Honduras, like Venezuela, like North Korea. You see the state of the human beings there. If we want that here, confiscate all of our firearms and let these elitists rule this nation. So God bless you all. I'm so grateful to be an American. I'm so grateful to be in this country. And I'm grateful for the fact that Jesus laid down his life for me so that I could live, be saved, and be free. God bless our nation. God bless our president. And for goodness sake, stand up for righteousness and stop this childish rant about the fact that it's guns. It's not. It's the people who are pulling the triggers. And when they're evil, they need to be stopped. Okay. Take care, everybody. I'll see you soon. And God bless you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.